string, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like I say, we'll proceed from the slicing of the strings. So basically, you use strings slicing in getting a range of a syntax. Like if you like we have said before, let's say that the name of a person, for example, is my name. So let me write my name in full, and you want to slice my name and probably get the range of my name, so you can always get a range. Let's say here, and you use lists in slicing between them. So I can put something like 2 is to 10, for example, and if I run this, that's going to give me the name, the range between this name, leaving the rest of the name. Like it doesn't have to capture all of them. So it means that you means get me the positional of 2 and 2 to 10 excluding 10. So as you see here, so this is the way I can get the range of a particular strings, whether it is a sentence, it is a paragraph, whatever it is, as big as it is. So you can get the range of it. So all you don't need to know is that Python start from 0, 1 to 3. This is 8. And if you want to get checker, so since this is 8 and 9 here, so if you start, let's say, from 10 and you want to get checker, so that means this is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So if you use 14 here and run the code, so you are going to get check here because it started with 10. So but if you start here with 9, so you can get the range of this particular name. So it means that here excluding itself. So this is a way you can get between two range of number. And if you want to slice a number from the start, or want to get slice a strings from a start, so it means you will always remove this, and this means from the beginning to the number you want. So if you run it like this, so you're going to get cancel a checker because this is slicing from the beginning. So once there is not value here, which this thing also mean you are slicing from 0 to 14 because this is 0. Like I said, the Python start with the first number or the first letter here, index as 0. So the indexing of Python start with 0. So if you put this is also the same thing as leaving it like this. So it means pick it from the beginning to the end. And this also applied when you want to start with the end. So you also need to change this. So I can just put 14 here and remove this from the beginning. So it means give me from the beginning, that is from where this number is to the rest of the number. So this is a way you can slice from the end. And then another way of slicing a strings is by negative, that is negative. So if you pick up 9 and 14 here, so let me replace here 9 and then still leave 14 here, and I run this and I will get checker. So the negative slicing means you can start from the negative. So if I put up a negative here, so it means if I run this, I am going to get nothing because there is nothing like range from this signs here. So but if I start with negative 9 here, so it means it's going to count from the negative part up to 9. So and that is why I have checker here. So if I want to increase it, means you need to increase the number here. So it means count from the negative to the, see I have checker here. So if I put 10 here, so it means that I am going to have sorry, if I put 8, sorry, I'm going to have, no, I wanted to put 7. So I can have Chuku only, which is the same thing as what you have here. So negative 7 based on the strings we are using is the same thing as 14. So you can have the same value you have here. So it means if you increase this thing to 12 and run this, is going to start this way up to 12 value. That is the indexing of the value. So this is a way you can work with strings and then get it up either in slicing, so you can pick it, index it, put it in the list, and whichever way you want it, the range you want it to be, you use the number. So this can apply in different ways, in different application when you are talking about writing code. So you can pick up a range you want and leave the rest from it. All right, so another thing we just need to talk about a bit is modification.
Sorry, sir. Sir, do you see the work I did yesterday?
You say?
Like I did some work yesterday.
Yeah, you didn't share it with. Oh, I didn't check. I will check that after now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a way you can modify a string. In modification of a strings, for example, let's say you want to modify the strings to be in upper. So you just need to put the name dot upper. It will take all of them to upper. So as you see here, if you have the strings, whether sentence, whatever it is, and if you want to change it to upper, so all you just need to do is the name dot upper will give you the output in this. So this is a first way you can modify a strings. And you can also modify the strings by making them in lowercase by using the keyword lower. So if you change this to lower, you should be able to have everything lower here. So everything in here become lower. So this is a keyword that you can use anytime, anywhere you want to use it. So you can make it upper or lower. So you can make it upper or lower, and automatically that's automatically change modify the strings. So you can also use strips, and when you use strips, it automatically remove the white spaces between words. Like if you have a distance between them, so you white spaces at the end. For example, let me say I put this here, and if you run this, it will remove the white spaces from the beginning to the end. That is, any white spaces that you have from either beginning or to the end, that's automatically will remove it. Like you see here, I have this space here, so it will remove the white spaces that it have between. So use strips keyword in removing such. That is, this one is strips lower upper. That is modification of strings. Then if you also want to let me say you want to replace a particular key, like here I want to replace something here, or I want to change my name to something else. So I want to replace Chika with Kinvik. So what I will probably do is here I will use the keyword which is replace. So in replacing, you just need to type replace, which is also a built-in function here. So when you put up a replace, what you need to do is quickly put up what you want to replace here and use comma in separating them in the same way, and I want to replace it with Kinvik like this. So it means automatically you can see here whatever I have here, I want to replace whatever I see checker with this. So this is the way you can replace. The first what you need to call is what you want to replace and with what you want to replace it with. Remember that when you are working on a particular design, remember this variable have to follow whatever you are declaring, or strings have to be in the same method. See here, this is lowercase, this is higher, that is uppercase, and you see that C here, because it is not confining with this, it was not able to put it the way it's supposed to be. So you are having cancel checker, it return it back because This shaker is not the same thing with this. So the only time it's going to work is when you are able to put them in the same case. So it will be able to replace it. That's how you can replace a particular strings or particular words in a syntax. So it is a way you can replace them. So you use the keyword replace in replacing what you want to replace. So by using this. Now, example is, let me say you have let me say you have somebody change his or her name, for example, and you want to replace wherever the person's name is. You can quickly just use this to replace it wherever it is. So you can see here, replace, it automatically replace that name, and we have different outputs. So in the modification also, we can talk about splitting. How do you split a strings? So in splitting a strings, you use the word split, the keyword split. So I am just going to remove this and replace it with split. So automatically it knows that you want to split the word where you have that particular letter. So if I use the keyword shaker, so it automatically split it with that particular keyword. So as you can see up here, so I am going to use this particular keyword to make the splitting. So and that's automatically split it from there. So if I use it up here and I'm using checker here, you see it automatically splits it there. You see we have cancel checker. So another perfect example is if I use comma here and I replace this with here and I run the same code, it will be able to split it up here. So you can see here that I have where I have the comma, you see it bringing it cancel checker, and then with the comma here and they split it. Now we have chuku. You can see this showing that it's in different way, and this that means that it's on its own. Now if you leave it with space like this and run it, you will see that it has splitted it into three because there is a space here, there is another space here. So automatically it splits this everything you strings you have here into this is on its own. Now it is now in a list having Inslee, Chika, and Chuku as a three different item or elements as related to the name. So this is still an aspect of strings modification. So there are more which we are going to talk about when we get to lists. Talking about lists. Now, do you have question on this?
No, sir.
You are good on this one?
Yes.
All right, so we can talk about that is string concatenation. So concatenation, like you know, is a process of combining two strings. So if you have strings that you want to combine, so you can concatenate it. So I am going to use the same thing. So let me copy this and then probably use this as first name and then press enter, and then also use this as name too, and then equal to, and highlight this, put it in this, go down here, and then I'm going to use last name, then I'll put them in quotes. So this is middle name and this is first name. So now these are three different first name, second name, and then my first name, middle name, sorry. So I have this in this format. So if I want to make a concatenation, so I can say now that my name in general, like all of them, comes in this format. So you can concatenate all of them as a print name. So if I run this, so you see I bring all of them together like first name plus the space here is that I want to add space to it, because if I remove this plus sign here and just put first name plus second name plus last name like this and run the same thing here, you see it bringing all of them together. So because of that, if I want to give space between them, I can always use this and then put another plus sign in between them, which I'm going to run. And you see here, because I didn't put the plus sign or space between them here, you see automatically that there is no space between both of them. So this is a way I can make a concatenation and brings two strings together. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so the same way you make concatenation when you want to plot with AutoCAD, where you have the easting and northing, and then you now bring both of them together. Yeah, so you bring both of them together, easting and northing, using concatenate in Excel and copy it and paste in AutoCAD. So this is still the same principle, bringing two strings together. So this is just a little bit introduction on concatenation. So we are going to talk about F string. F string is simply formatting. So you format, that is, use F strings. So you simply put F in a font of the sentence, let me say, syntax that you want to work on, and then using curly bracket to hold the other operational like things you want to put in there, like F strings. So you use F strings in order to format and put something in. So automatically it will take to recognize the rest of the things you have there. So F string is simply, it is called format method. So you use it to format the strings. So how does F strings work? So it work in some cases. For example, let me say that my height, let me use that my height is 173 cm, for example, and then I have my name. So I have my name and I want to work on that strings. So what I'm going to say, for example, is that if I say that my name, so I'm going to say my name here. I'm going to say that my name is this, like your name is this. And if you say print your name here, because you remember what we said in the beginning, that F, without F, like you can't combine two things. Like you can't combine what is not, you can't combine, let's say, there's no way you can combine strings and integer. So if you say you want to put up these things like this and you say this plus your height, you remember you define your height as 172. So if you run this particular code like this, it says you cannot concatenate strings with integer. So it's not going to be possible because this is this particular thing you have here is an integer. Now this is a strings and you want to put up your name, that your name here, because if you remove this here and then put your name, because ideally you're supposed to make it my name is, and you put up this and you make comma and then come here and put up this and you say you want to say that your name is this. So if you run this, ideally you supposed to have a result, but you cannot concatenate integer and strings. So this is where F strings comes in. So what do you need to do? You make the formatting. How do you make the formatting? Like I said, F string, you use the curly bracket. Now in curly brackets, that is the curly bracket here. So what you need to do is when you want to put it up, the moment you put up something like this, what you just need to do is introduce the F strings by putting up F in front of it. Now, when you put it up here, put whatever you define here, like you can see height and name in here. So if you run this right now, this is going to give you the right thing, because one, the formatting, once you put F here, it automatically recognizes that anytime you see this name, put this in bracket and name, it will pick up the name. And when you see height in the bracket like this, it will pick up the height. So if you remove this F and run it, This is going to print my name is, because what is here is strings. It's going to put my name, you put up this, and the height is, you put up, it's just print out what is here. But the moment you introduce the f strings here, you see automatically it change, picking the name here and picking the height here. So if you run it, you see it printing the name the way it is. So this can, you can also make this thing working like this. Name, you can put input name. For example, let's say that I say input, and I say here what is your, let me use this as example, what is your name here, and then I remove this and I run this code again. What is it going to do? It's going to ask me what is your name, and I will say Kingsley, for example, and I'll press enter. Now it will pick up my name because I have inputted my name here, and then I formatted it that anytime I say this, give me the result of printing the name I inputted with the height. So you can also do this by saying input, and then you open up. Then remember that when you're putting input, you have to use integer, because probably that's what you want to use, because it's an integer. What is your height? Now, if you run this code, it's going to start with invalid. So now, if you put up this, you see it now. The first thing it asks, what is your height? Let me say that my height is 200, and then it's asking me what is your name, and I will say Kingsley. So automatically, when I press enter, it will be able to tell my name is Kingsley and my height is 200. So because I inputted 200 and I inputted my name as Kingsley. So this is the work of strength. So it uses this to actually put up things, concatenate, bring in both integer and strings. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is a way you can work
What
on
of
such
eval?
thing.
We
You say
want to
what?
put we want to put eval input, abi eval input.
I didn't get you.
Eval
Evan.
eval.
A-L.
Yeah, I think it's evaluate. Okay. Yeah.
I didn't get you well.
I just remember now that eval, like in school, we used to put eval input something. Like maybe evaluate, maybe if you want to evaluate, yeah. Like this first line, assuming we want to calculate, like instead of putting into put eval.
Like, as in, you're talking about like evaluate.
And no, I'm just remembering now. No, it's not
Okay, 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 okay. I get what you're saying. So you use evaluate, which is evaluate a given source of a contents in global or local. So this is just like
okay. Is it for calculation?
huh? Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
for calculation?
yeah, you use it in evaluate. That's just like evaluation. Eval, so you use that in evaluating. So, but it will be applied in a context. Like this is one thing you should know. Anytime you are in Python, if you want to see a whatever you need to know about a particular word, so you use eval is given in a source contents of local. The source must be strings evaluating a Python expression or the code object as returned by compiler. So the global must be in dictionary, and local can also be mapping defaulting to the current global local. So if only global is given, the local is so you use this, and it can also show you like each of them you see here. So anytime you want to know what each of them works in, so you can put it up there and then get it done. So but I am using integer because I want it to accept a keyword
Uh,
integer. So this is like a perfect way you can get it done. So you can use this in different concepts. So Python automatically understand this, and you put up the name, whatever name you put in here. So and then once you press enter, it's going to give you whatever input you have there, and then you should be able to modify it. Now the same thing, like I said, you can put modify it. You either age, you can put a placeholder and then also modify them. Like you want a particular price of something, you can also put it up there. And then another thing is, how do you format a particular number? Let me say, for example, that I want to do the same thing here. So I can say, um, let me say that the price of an iPhone is 1,200 USD, and then I want to input the text, so I can say different things like item here, then quantity, then item number, and my order. So I want to order this type of thing. So what do I need to do? So if I run this code, so it's going to give me, I want 3 pieces of item 647 for $1,200. What happened? It make place these things into this. So if I want to print, my order have to come in this format where I put quantity first. So if I change this thing and put price, it will repeat price twice. So you can see that I want 1,200 pieces of item for. So it picks it in order. So any place you put the order, so that automatically brings in it for you at that particular point. So this is a way you can also make a formatting. Then another thing I want you to know is that when you are making a formatting, for example, you put the first thing. Let me give you how you can write off round off. So let me say that I want to put this price as equal to 1,200. Then, and I want it to say, let's say that you need a price. So let me say the sentence or order. So let me give you an order of the price. Is that I need that order in the item of, I use the F strings with this bilateral, and I can say the price is. Now I have added the price here, but I want it to be in a particular two significant figure or three significant figure. So what I just need to do is to put 2F figure. So if I run the print, and if I say print order, that's going to give me it in this format. F string, what is wrong here?
Like I did
Okay.
not get the number for code for
You say?
the previous one.
Didn't get you?
Like I didn't get previous what's it called?
Okay, what I mean from the previous one is that you have a price, you have a quantity, you have, let me put item name, and you want to buy, you are looking for shoe. Now, what it means is that you define the item, hmm? You define the item, the price, the item you want to buy, and the quantity you want to buy. So if you want to put your order, you can say that I want placeholder, nothing is inside it. Another place item pieces of another placeholder, nothing is inside it, and a dollar. So when you go to the print, you put my order dot, you format it like, first thing I want is that I want the quantity. So it means whatever that the price is here automatically picks in the quantity. The item number, whatever that is there, so I have to put item name here. So if I run it, it is going to pick whatever I define here.
Okay.
So you see now that my order formatting quantity is 3. So it means that any places, remember this thing have to be in 3 position. Let me remove this to be 2. You are not going to get, you are going to get an error because it is not in 2 positional. So the two position are supposed to make it like it's supposed to ought to have three item in that part side. You see here two, but you have three placeholder one, two, three. So it ought to correspond whatever item that is inside here ought to correspond with how many placeholder that is inside here. Is that okay? Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is, since I need for the price, so I am going to put the price here. So when I put price in here, so that's automatically pick it up, and then that gives you the whole pricing as it ought to be. Do you get that?
Yes.
All right, so that's about pricing. So in Python, so that automatically makes such formatting in that order. So giving you whatever items you put it up there, so that's going to come up that same way. So that's how to make formatting using F strings in Python. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I wanted to do is putting a price in decimal places. That's what I wanted to do here, where you place, maybe you have a price and then you want to put up your order, then you will now say, what I mean here is that I didn't put equal to here. So now what it means is, if you want the order to be in a decimal places, you can see here I want to put it in two decimal places. You can see it coming in two decimal places here. Is that okay? If I change
Yes.
to three decimal places, you see it putting it in three decimal places here. So you put such thing, the price, you put this and dot three significant, that's three. So it automatically place that automatically in significant, like in decimal places that you want. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So you can also model the F string. The F string is really important. It is something we are going to be using often. Like it's really, really important while you are writing a program or while you are writing a code. So the price, for example, is you say you go to the formatting and say, let's say that the price of the item you collect is 20, but you want to multiply it with, let's say we have 1,200, and somebody want to buy two items, for example, and then um, somebody want to buy two items, for example, and you want to multiply it the way it is. So you just need to change how many items did the person buy, then you are going to have something that looks like. So if you run this, it's going to make the multiplication for you. You see here. Now this is the amount. So let me say, let me use this as Nigerian naira here, and then remove this at the end of it. So what it means is that if I run this particular code, that is going to give me that this is this. So if somebody want to buy 12 items, all I just need is to put 12 here and run the code again. That's going to multiply the value of this and give me the answer. Do you get that now?
Yes, sir.
So this is a way you can make formatting, and now automatically this comes in with what we call um, this comes in what we call math, because it automatically make multiplication for you. If you make an addition to it, so if it is plus sign, so you can automatically see that it is making a calculation for you. 12 plus this gives you this. Then if it is minus, it's going to also make minus for you, and when you run it, it is going to make the mathematics calculation for you. But where it is important, like I said, is when you want to make a multiplication, you just need to just add it up and put them in S3, and that's going to give you the value in that data. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, do you have any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, another thing we'll talk about is escape character. Now, what do you call escape character? Escape character, you insert a character that are illegal in the strings and you use them as an escape character. The escape character can be backslash and followed by those this thing. So let me give you example of what I'm talking about by escape character. Now, if I ask you us to write, let's just make a sentence. So let's put sent like this. Let's say in the sentence that we say we have, let's say I want to say that we have you as a specialist of the occasion, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you see that I want this thing to have your name. I want it to have this double bracket on it. You get? So if you print this now, what do you think that is going to happen? We're going to have invalid syntax because we have this here and we have this here. This cannot come in here. You get the point now?
Okay, sir.
So now I remove one, I want to put one and then put this one here. What will happen? You are going to have that we have you at the location. You see the way it goes in now, leaving this particular one here. So now it is printing this. This is what I want us to have. So because of I put small here, as in one quote, double quote
One.
inside, that's going to work. So if I put double quote inside and put double quote inside, this, you see the way it change. If I change this and put single quote and also change this and put single quote, that is going to work. As you can see, that works in here. Now, but what if in the situation I still want to retain both of them? Because if you put another one here, it becomes a problem. So if I want to retain both the double quote inside, we use the tools which we call the escape, which is escape character. How do I put it? So I will just put this in front of you and go in between them and put this. Now it will print this and it will retain that. With this escape character, this is not going to throw an error. Did you get that?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so this is a way you get that done. So they are different, all of them, like tab. We have tab. Once you put is a particular, let's start with a new line, we call them escape character. So assuming I want whatever that is here to become a new line, I will use this. For example, I will use this. When I put up a new line here, is going to have a new line like this. If I run this like this, I am going to have, you have whatever that is from here automatically gives me a new line. Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
And you put N.
yeah, and when you put anything, let me take for example that I want to put up my name and I'm going to write it like Insley, Insley Cheka. I think that's my name. Now, and I want, if I run this now, you see that I have Kinsley Cheka Chuku, but I want each
Yes.
of my name to be in a new line. So I'm going to use N slide backslash N in front of it. And when I run this, I'm going to have something that looks like this.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so if I want it to have a tab, I'll put T in front of it and I run it, you will see it having a tab in front of it. So there are different of them, but this is what we call escape character in Python. So we use this when we are talking about escape character. So this is just a perfect example of what we need to work on. So there are other different these things like capitalize, so which makes they are like a strings method. We have talked about. We can talk about capitalize. So this is what we call. So let's talk about Python strings method, which is related to what we talked about before. So when you have a capitalize, you use the capitalize to capitalize each of the word. You know, before we talked about upper and lower when we're talking about modification, you remember? So, but if I want to capitalize later, let me say that I have a name. I have a name that I say like my name. I'm going to say Kingsley Chikachuku as it is, and then I'm going to put all of them in small letter, like the beginning of my name in small letter, and then I want to capitalize it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say name dot capitalize, and that's going to capital make the capital like putting the letter there for me as capital. So with that, I can have this as a capital because I say capitalize.
But
But
what if
what
we can't press, we can write it as
you see,
print upper, name dot upper?
if I say name dot upper, right, it's going to give me in upper letter, which we have talked about earlier. Now this is going to give put the results in upper for me.
It's capital letter too.
Yes, that is upper. All
Okay.
is going to
Okay,
be.
that is same function with capitalized.
Yeah, what I'm talking about now, because you know we just talked about it, and so when you use capitalize, the first letter in that sentence become capital letter. So that is the
Okay.
function of capitalize. So if you say capitalize, so putting capitalize, so it return the version here. If you look at this, the first make the first character to have uppercase. First character to have uppercase. So if I run this now, it will automatically make Kingsley to be in uppercase.
Okay.
Yes, so that is what you work when you are working at. This is capitalized. Then we can talk about case fold. So I am going to copy this as well. I'm just talking about the strings, the Python strings method. So if you use case fold here, like this, if you put up case fold, now the case fold return the version of the string suitable for caseless to case fold. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to run this. So what happens when I put up the case fold? What will be the result? So you see here, it return the chuku that is not normal to normal.
Okay, so
So we call that particular act as a case fold. Yeah, so now another thing you can work on again is what we call, let me copy this. I'm just saying this because you will be bringing this knowledge together as we proceed on where you want to use it. So you can be using that to do whatever you want. So another thing we need to talk about is strength center method. So if you use center here, you just need to tell it where do you want it to center. Center it. Where do you want it to center it? So let's say you want it to set 10 and you run the code and you are going to have Kenselechi Kachuku. Now the reason why you probably are not seeing this is that it takes the word Kenselechi Kachuku, taking it up to the space of 20 character with the that particular name in the middle. Do you get that
I
now?
don't get no.
Yeah. What I'm saying is this: when you are trying to make a center, the center, what it does is that it takes whatever strings you have, the word you put there, like it will print the word Kenseleche Kachuku taking up to the space of 20 character, making that name this thing in the middle. You will understand this when you have a lot of this, where you have this as in the middle. Like we are going to expand this. How do I say it? We are going to expand this or better when we have see, ideally, because you are seeing it like this because it is in here. What it means is that this Kinsley Chika Shuku, it takes this thing like put space between them, like from the beginning here. Eh? It is printing it one, it give a space of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 before printing it. But this is not bringing out the result here. This is supposed to be at the center somewhere here. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Did you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you use that to center a word, so you can take a word and put it in a center. So it automatically now put that word in that center for you. So another let me explain something so that you will understand what I'm saying. I think the best way I will need to do this is to put a strings like K in between, in center, and print. So this is going to also put the K, like when you put up the name here, it's going to print this word. Let me say, let me make it like this. Let me make it like this. Is equal to, let's put it up like, how will it be perfect? I think let's remove this and make it at the center and say print the name X in the center. So the K is not there. So we say put this in the center, and then we say print X for us. So because when we print X, I think this will help you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not putting it the way I want us to put it. Maybe I will use text editor where I can have this as this. So when we center this name, you should be able to put this in the center for us, and then bring this in. What I needed you to understand is that when you want to center, maybe when I use PyCharm, you understand what I'm saying. But the thing is that you're supposed to put this circle 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 into 20 and center this thing here. So remember, when we start using PyCharm, remind me of this so that we can use this where you can see it well and understand what I'm trying to say.
Of the center, I should remind you.
Yeah, remind me of the center. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Now, another method we are going to talk about is count. Now, we have talked about a bit of count. So, you remember we use length. We talked about length before. Yeah, so we can also talk about count. How do we make count? So, you say from here, let me put up the name and say here, you use count. You use count to count the number of times something appears. Now I am going to put count here and I'm going to say check. Now if I run this, then I should be able to see that checker is counted one time. You get the point?
Count.
Not yet. Now if I run it again, it's going to tell me that checker appeared 3 times.
Okay, name. Let's see what name dot count checker.
Yeah.
Print X. I don't understand this one, sir.
You didn't understand the count,
Like
right?
to count the words.
Yeah, how many times does checker appear in this?
Okay.
So if I add another checker and run it now, it's going to tell me that we have 4 checker. If I enter another checker and count it again, it tell me that it is 5 checker. Now if I put Kingsley here and say Kingsley, how many do you think is going to count?
Okay. One.
1? What if I say you are wrong?
Ah. Count Casely. Ah,
There is no
why?
cancel there. There is no cancel there. The only cancel there will be when K is in small letter and we can have one.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a way you can work as related to count. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how the count work. So there are so many other different, uh, there are also many other different strings method like index. We have talked about formatting. There are also like decimal digit is lower, like example of is lower is when you want to like get the lower if it is lowercase. For example, let me copy this and I'm going to paste here and I'm going to use is lower. Now, if I use is lower and then I am going to put up this and I will run this. So, sorry, I pass in one here, so it's supposed to be empty. So when I run this right now, then I am trying to confirm whether is every sentence here lower. The answer is false because Chuku here is not in lowercase. So, but if I remove this and run it now, it's going to be true because everything here is in
Okay.
lowercase. So this is a way you can check is upper. So there are different other Python methods you can work on. So then you can also work on something like join. So this is example of join. You basically use tuple in joining, and then in that joining, let's say we have name and then I have these settings here and I want to join it with a particular thing. So what I need to do is that I will use the keyword join, and then in joining I will pass the this thing here as name. Oh, sorry. In joining here, I'll pass this thing as name, which is that name I have in the beginning here. Then I will now pass it with what I want to join it. What do I want to join it with? So let me say I want to join it with hash or dollar. Here, it means that I have to use join here. Now automatically it will join all the name using this. You get the point now?
Yes, sir.
So you can see this now. So the way to make it better is put all of them in tuple. You put it in tuple, which comes in the beginning like this. And when we put all of them in tuple like this, then you make sure that all of them are separated from each other. As you can see here, I use comma, and then here I'll put up this like this. Here I'll put up this and I'll put comma. Then so let's remove this rest of them so that we will not spend time doing this. So I'm going to put chuku here and I'm going to put it here. Now if it is in tuple and I run the same thing now, it is going to join cancel check chuku using this. If you put it up here and say join it with your name, then and run the same thing here, you are going to have it with canceling your name, can check your name chuku. Is that okay? So there are different other tuple method you can use. Like I said, is you can use other these things like there are many ways. There are different. We have talked about replace. We have talked about strips. We have talked about split. We have talked about you can also use something like title. So in title you put those things as a title. So it comes each first letter as a title case. Now, what do I mean? This is what I mean by title case here. You have a word that you want, before we use capitalize. What does capitalize do? Capitalize take each of these to put the first letter in capital letter. You remember? But when you are talking about title, you use this like this. So in this case, let me use name. So I'm going to use name. I'm going to use name and I'm going to use title. So when you use title, name and title, you remove this. So what happens? It is going to put all of them in title. What did I do wrong, please? Oh, I saw what I did wrong. This is in tuple. So let's remove them in tuple. Put everything here as the same thing. So I'm going to remove this 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And then I am going to run it now. And then you see that each of the letter comes as capital letter. So that's how we use title. Now before we say capitalize. Remember this.
Yes. It's the
Now
same thing, right?
it only pick Kingsley, right?
Yes, sir.
Kingsley only. But when you want to make the rest of them is assistants, so use what? You use title. So these are different way you can work on strings method. So there are so many of them. Why I want you to know it is like to get to understand is that you need to understand it because you are going to be working with different aspect of data. So while you're working with different aspect of data, you need to understand what like how all of them works. So there are different of them. So this is just what few ones like you just need to like focus on this and know how they work. Is that okay? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
So maybe let's talk about swap before maybe when we are talking about swap. In swap you work on swap like this. So in swapping, so I'm still going to use something that looks like this. So I'm going to say my name is Kenselecheka Chukwu. So I want to put my Chukwu the way I used to write it like this. And you see now that I have this, and then I made this one to be in capital letter. You can see everything that I have here is now in cap case. So if I want to use swap case, so it means I use swap case where I will say swap case. Now the swap case convert the uppercase convert to lower, convert uppercase to lower. So now I click on it. Now if I hover over it, it will load this. So you see what it does. What does it do? It convert upper character to lower case and lower character to upper case. So because I have this, it when I run the swap case, it is going to print. This is in capital letter, right? It will swap
Yes.
everything in that order. So these are different aspect of strings method, like I said. So this is strings method. So you use that in working on that way. So this is it for strings method for strings method. So we have talked about escape, then we have talked about strings method. So there are so many of them. So but as you go on, you are going to use some of them. Is that okay? So I am going to we are going to talk about it more, and I think we still have like 10-20 more minutes, so we can use another 10 minutes, and then we use the remaining 10 minutes for like summary where you have question or clarification. So is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's talk about a quick one. It won't take us time, so let's talk about Python Boolean. So when you're talking about boolean, this represents either an item or whatever you're saying, either it is true or false. So it is just simple. For example, I want to check whether 5 5 is greater than 4. Now, if I just run this, for example, what is going to say? It's going to be true because actually 5 is greater than 4. Then if I say 5 is less than 4, it is just going to tell me false because 5 is not greater than 4. Is that okay? So this is just like a way of making a comparison. If I say 5 is equal to 4, now if you run this, it's going to be false because 5 is not equal to 4. But when I put 5 up here and run it, you will see that 5 is actually equal to 5. So you use Python booleans in actually to make a comparison to check whether whatever you are working on, is it true or is it false. So this is a perfect way of putting two things and then compare whether is it true or is it false. So this is the perfect example of how you can make most of it. So there are several other ways you can get it done, but you use this have to be either is it true or is it false. Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so basically that's what it does. So if you have anything, so
The bullying is it like we in this
listen.
like to compare? Is it like I want to say is four greater than five?
Yeah,
Will
like
I
if you, yeah,
greater
if
than five? Like the greater than sign. Will I use it twice?
will you use it what?
Twice.
Like if you say 5 is greater than 5,
Mm.
yeah, what you just means is that you want to confirm whether the statement you have is it true or false.
To equal to twice.
Okay, okay, yeah, equal is like making a comparison. Compare.
Oh,
So this is comparing a words. This is true. This is 5 equal. Compare is just like making a comparison. This is not because the expression cannot assign. You are not saying assign. You see here the syntax error.
okay, okay, okay,
Yeah, you see the syntax error now.
okay.
So expression cannot contain an assignment. Perhaps what you're supposed to do is making the comparison of both of them. Is that okay?
Yes,
So
sir.
that's why you use this in making comparison. And then this is when it's going to be true or it is false. So this is there are different other ways you can employ it, like what we did earlier, where you say if this is say true, if this is the say false. So you can use that to set up something and then compare whether it is true or not true. So it is a perfect way of comparing boolean. So it have to be either it is true or false. Now we have talked about operators a bit. So we have talked about uh, Python operators like what we have been using plus sign, minus sign, and rest of them. So in operators, if you just say this and you say this plus 9, and if you run this, you are going to have that 10. So there are different other type of operators like arithmetic operators, assignment operator, comparison. You have logical, you have identity, you have membership, you have bitwise. So there are different types of operators that we have. And when you're talking about arithmetic operators have to be like, you can see say print. These are different types of arithmetic operators. So if I run this, you see 1 minus 9. This is 1 multiplied by 9. This is 1 over 9. This is 1 modulus 9. This is 1 raised to power 9. This is 1 floor 9. So this is what we call arithmetic operators. So you have here, all you have here is called arithmetic because it have to do with something you are trying to solve. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
So this is called arithmetic. This is Python operators, but the one we are talking about is what we call arithmetic. So, sorry, this is what we call arithmetic operators. So this is arithmetic operators where you get this all that have to do with numerical calculation. This one is plus, this is minus, this is multiplication, this is division, this is modulus, this is exponential, and this is floor division. So these are different aspects of arithmetic operators you have. And do you have question on this?
And so the last one,
Okay,
what do you call it? Sir?
we
The
call
last
it we call it floor division.
floor. Okay.
Floor division. So maybe um, maybe I need to explain it a bit more. But do you know what is floor division?
Yes, I think when you divide it and maybe it will show you only the integers. That
Okay. Yeah.
I
So
forgot it.
yeah. So that's floor division. So this is to divide. We are going to be talking about floor and ceiling. We have floor and ceiling, like ceiling up for top. So we have this type of operators.
Okay.
Yeah. So it can be floor division or it can be ceiling. So which maybe we will have to like talk about it a bit so that you get a clear understanding of what. But you understand the rest of other aspect of division, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So we have this one is floor division. Now let me give you example of floor division. Let me say that I have, let me use this as example. Let me use 15 over 2, for example. Then, because if I run this now, what do you think I will have? 7.5, right?
Sir?
I will have 7.5.
Yes,
Yeah, but
yes,
when I
sir.
put a floor division, it will have to round it off to the nearest whole number. That is the meaning.
Okay, sir.
So you get that now. So that's basically what we mean by the floor division. Is that
Okay,
okay?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's quickly talk about assigning operators. Like I said, we have assignment operators, we have arithmetic, we have comparison, logical, identity, membership, and bitwise. Now, this is arithmetic operators. So if we are to talk about assignments, which is assignment. Now, assignment, like is just like assigning something to somebody, like you use a value to assign to variable. What do you mean? Example of assigning a variable is that x is equal to 5. So what it means is that you assign x into 5. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there are different other things you can do when you're assigning operators. So if you say we have x as equal to 5, then if I say x, like if I say x now like this, and I say plus equal to 3, now equal to 5. Now if I print the x right now, what will I have? It means that I'm going to have, sorry, this is
No,
supposed to
equal.
be, now I'm going to have 10, because what I did here was that I said x plus equal to 5.
Okay.
So if I print this, I'm going to have 10. So the same thing, if I also copy this and then put it up here and I put minus here, what am I going to have? It is going to be like 5 minus 5. That is going to be 10, because this one have to supersede this, so I am going to have a minus sign. Is the same thing as me saying x minus 3, as in x minus 5. Sorry, are you having any confusion?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so these are assigned. Anytime you assign something to something, it means you are talking about um, assignment. So the same thing, this is also related to comparison. Comparison. Now in comparison, what do you do? That is comparison operator. So you make a comparison. You basically make a comparison. Is this thing greater than this? Like what we talked about. this thing is not equal to, this is greater than this is less than this is greater equal to this is less than equal to this. So this is a way you can make comparison operators. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now this one is what we called Python, let's say logical operators. So in Python logical operators, you basically make a comparison between two different things. Like as you can see here, we have 5, then we say make a comparison, x is equals to 5. You can make a comparison by saying x is greater than 3 and x is greater than 10. So if you run this particular code, you will realize that this is true because x, this and when it means and is that both statements have to be true because x is greater than 3, right? And x is less than 10. What is x? 5. But when you say print x is greater than 3 or x is less than 5, is that statement true? Yes. That is why you have true. But say that x is not greater than 3 and not less than 3, not because the not is here, that makes it false. So this is a way you can get to try as related to logical operator. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Or
It's
you
not.
or do you have a doubt?
I'm not really
Okay, so
like I'm not. It's,
okay, if you don't have a doubt, so we can talk about a bit of is, using is, which is what we call identity operator, which is Python identity operator. So Python identity operators. So you use Python identity operators when you want to make a comparison, like to identify, to compare some few distance. Like you see here, I have pencil here, checker, pencil checker. Then I say that Z is equal to X. Now, what does it mean? I have assigned all whatever is in X into Z. So if I run this, I say print S is in X is in Z. That is true because I have assigned Z into X. Do you get that?
sir.
Yeah, so that's the same thing here. So now here I say that X is in Y. Is that true? Because X is in Y, that is true. But when I say that X is equal to Y, X is in Y. Look at X is in Y. Do you have any problem with it?
I'm not really getting it, sir.
Okay. I'm saying that here I have that X is Z. Now I have these two variables here, right? So, and I decided to assign that into the other one. Now what I did was that I assigned X as Z. So it means that any place you see Z is equal to X, right?
Yes. Yes,
And then if I say that X is in Z, is that true?
it's true.
Okay, now you get that now. Now I say that X is in Y.
No, it's not.
Okay, so that is why it is false. But I say that X is equal to Y. Is it true?
X is equal to Y.
Yeah,
It's
is it
true.
true? Yeah, so that is what I have to do. So this is what we call identity operators. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we are almost rounding up. I just wanted us to finish the operators. So let's talk about Python membership. Python membership operators. So in Python membership operators, you use this to test if a sequence is present in object or not present in object. Now, how? This is a perfect example of how to test it. At x is this, print cancel if it is in x. So that means it is true, right?
Yes, sir.
So, but if I say print this thing if it is in x, what is it going to be? It's going to be false because such kind of this thing is not there. So the last one we will need to talk about is what we call Python bitwise. It's called Python bitwise operator. Now in Python bitwise operator, you basically make a comparison using and this to make a comparison. So you have A is equal to this. Now and then you say that A and B is what?
A and B, I think that is plus or
Yeah,
is
so
times.
yeah, that is, remember that this is binary.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is bitwise operator. So you basically use it to set each using the bits. So A and B is 0. That is then A or this is or. This is or. A or B is 14, which means this comes together. Then you have A, that is not, this is not. So A is not this. Then you remember the binary. So if we are to start this, so that means we have to start doing calculation. This one is A x naught. Then this one is A here. You have this is zero field, that is left shift, or assigning it to the right shift. So sometimes, do you get this now? So this is just like a bit. I just want us to talk about those operators, and then probably we are going to explore them. But the whole thing is that you should understand like few of these operators and how they work. So basically, we are done with what related to operators. And from the way I wanted us to go,